Hello and welcome to Tinto Yaps. It's that video where I take a look at all of the developer comments that have been made over the previous week, and I curate them and find the juicy gems of goodness to share with you. Now, we're going to be looking, of course, at some culture, as we had the Culture Dev Diary. We also had a Dev Diary on Indonesia, but of course today we must start, of course, with the Saturday building, and I think it's a kind of an interesting one. We have here the Opera House. They use 400, or it's employed by 400 burghers. It is an Age of Absolutism building, and we can see that symbol is now there on the building tooltip. And it will also show the icon for the technology, which is what I guess this is. It's the same. I guess we're going to have a technology called Opera House, and that's how we're going to be able to build it. It can be built in cities, it can be built in towns. It will give you a little bit of cultural tradition per month, I assume. It doesn't say whether it's per month or per year. And it also gives you some monthly literacy. The production method, so you're going to need some cloth, you're going to need wine, you're going to need paper, you're going to need silks, and then this is a new one that when he posted this, we didn't know. So I asked on Discord, and he let me know this is lacquer ware. So we now know what this good is. It's a new one that's been added. Hopefully we get a post by Johan saying this is all of the goods that are in the game, and so we have references instead of having to ask him about every single one. But that's the Saturday building. That's that out of the way. Let's go and have a look at the Culture Dev Diary, and to start with we have this post here. Basically, when the Dev Diary was posted, all it showed was we have painters, sculptors, composers, writers, etc. And there was no description. There was no... description is actually the word I was using. Anyway, but now we know we have the painter, which is a type of artist that creates images by depicting the world, all purely from their own imagination. It's done by applying pigment, coal, or the sources of colors to a solid surface like a canvas or a wall. And it also gives us a couple of examples of famous painters: Leonardo da Vinci, Rembrandt, and Raphael. Sculptors shape clay, stone, marble, wood, and other materials into art. Famous sculptors include Donatello, Michelangelo, and Gianlorenzo Bernini. Composers, they create music, anything from a motet, I assume that's how it's pronounced, I don't know, to a symphony. Famous composers of the era include Johann Sebastian Bach, Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, and Carl Michael Bellman. Writers, this is the interesting one here. Writer describes artists that can write anything from a poem to a novel, as well as writing entire plays. Famous writers of the era include William Shakespeare, and many more of lesser talent. And look, I am English. Obviously, I know Shakespeare way more than I know any other writer of the era, because that's the one that we learned in school. But at the same time, I feel it might be a little, it's a little on the nose to elevate one and just say, the rest are garbage. Yeah, it's a little awkward, but sure, it's Johan. He's having a joke. It's fine. There's no need to get upset about it, and I'm sure some people will probably have been getting upset about it. Architects, they are the artists that design the buildings that create the beauty of our cities. It also includes monuments, mansions, and palaces. Famous architects of the era include Minar Sinan, Christopher Wren, and Michelangelo. And you will notice Michelangelo is here twice. We're going to get onto that, though. Philosophers are the types of artists that define reality, help us shape our understanding of our existence. Famous philosophers of the era include René Descartes, I don't know how... Descartes, I don't know. Immanuel Kant and Baruch Spinoza. Jurists are experts in legal matters, proficient in analysing and commenting on the different legal codes. Famous jurists of the era include Bartolius de Saxiferato, Francisco de Vittoria, and Jeremy Bentham. Scientists, persons of knowledge and scholars of thought, questioning the aspects of nature which have been granted as given in the past. Famous scientists of the era include Isaac Newton, Leonardo da Vinci, also here twice now, and Joseph Fourier. Iconographers are only for certain religions. They create religious icons. Famous iconographers of the era include Eulalius, Georgios Kelergis, and Manuel Panselinos. I imagine this is basically just for the Romans, other Orthodox nations. And then metallist smiths, if you have metallurgy, they are skilled artificers, capable of creating anything from decorative weapons to kingly regalia. Famous metalsmiths of the area include Johann Joseph Wirth, Vidal Astori, and Johann Cambier. Okay. So, it's nice to get the description. It's nice to get the, a couple of examples of famous examples. But we have here Leonardo da Vinci. He's on here twice. Michelangelo is on here twice. So you would think, is it possible if these characters appear in the game that they will be having multiple types of speciality? No. No, they cannot. That is honestly kind of unfortunate. Like, kind of very unfortunate. Especially when you are giving, the same dude a couple of lines, a couple of examples here. Like, have them both here. Michelangelo is here twice. Leonardo da Vinci is here twice, and yet they are incapable of doing both in the game. I would like this to change. I think this should change. I think this definitely should change. Whether it should change for basically everyone. Basically, you'd have a system where, all of these random generated artists coming in are, I can do this and this. I don't think that's necessary, but having the specific named historical characters having multiple specializations as a special thing, I think that should be a thing, because it's, again, at the end of the day, it's a game about history, and that it's historical. And you even pointed out here. So I hope this changes. I hope this changes very much. Moving on, though. 99% of the art and the artists coming after the start of the game are going to be entirely dynamic. I am mostly fine with this. It depends on how much we're expecting to get. For example, in 1337, many of the people listed here weren't born yet. So if they are going to be popping up, are they a part of this 1%? And if those names that we know are part of the 1%, that means there's going to be quite a lot. If you're getting, 500 to 1,000 generated artists, I mean, for every single country, there's going to be multiple amounts of artists, and there's a lot of countries. So I could definitely see those named characters, those named people, those historical figures being a 1%. And the same with artwork. I do hope that we get some artwork that is created during the period as being in the game as named pieces of artwork. If that is only 1%, as long as there's enough of it and that 99% is just a huge amount of it, I'm totally fine. But also, on this note, we're talking about the flavor descriptions on the pieces of art. They're only there for historical pieces of art. They are not going to be there for randomly generated pieces of art. Also, I imagine probably not getting the actual pieces of art in-game. Especially for the historical ones, there's probably a load of copyright BS there. Like, I don't think we're going to see the Mona Lisa in-game. But a piece of art called the Mona Lisa that just has a picture of a picture frame, maybe. I guess I'd be fine with that. But yeah, flavor descriptions would be nice for multiple things, but the amount of art amount of pieces of cultural art, I guess, that are going to be in the game, it seems it's just not feasible to write flavor descriptions for all of them, unless you do generative AI, and that's a whole other bag of worms that I am more in favor of them avoiding. Moving on, though, they do have a dynamic naming system for the pieces of art, so it doesn't matter, an architectural wonder that is created in Poland in 1640, right? It doesn't matter if there is, it's going to have a specific name, and that's just going to be different in every single game, right? I think that's perfectly fine. It's not just going to be Polish architectural wonder. It's going to have a name. I probably should have chosen something other than Poland as my example, because now I can't speak Polish or even come up with a word in Polish that isn't beginning with a K. So we're not gonna. So let us move on. I see AE decays monthly now is rare, and yeah, most stuff is monthly in PC. And Project Caesar aggressive expansion decaying monthly. It's different from EU4. I think it's a great change, honestly, and it stops the system that I frequently abuse in my own games, where I wait until like the 29th of December to peace out, so that a couple of days after the peace deal, the AE from various countries will dip below 50, and then they won't be able to join a coalition against me. I abuse the hell out of that all the time. Now it doesn't seem like that's going to be necessary because it will go down on a monthly tick instead. Do scientists interact with research in any way? No. What? Why? Scientists, research. It's like, the word association game? If you want to, I'll say a word, and you tell me a word that, you associate with that. Science, research, it's kind of the thing that goes together really well. But no, scientists, they write books and theses. Research and progress is done by engineers. They're not present in the game at the moment, though. I mean, like, come on. Come on. Really? This is, I feel like it's just such an own goal. It's such an own goal that scientists not impacting research in any way is wild to me. Actually, legitimately, just crazy. I honestly think this needs to change. It really, really does. Yeah, moving on. I ain't got no more to say about that, but you know what? Now 104 disagrees. Like, yeah, come on. Moving on. Will there be historical figures as artists? I'm thinking in particular like Leonardo da Vinci, Michelangelo, etc. Yes, there will be. Good. That is very much needed. Yeah, moving on. I just realized Sweden can now finally accurately loot my country's works of art. They still haven't given them back. Don Garino, do you have you don't have a flag as your profile picture, so I don't know where you're from, but yeah, I definitely Sweden is the proper example to be using for the loot of works of art. Me being British, I wouldn't know anything about that. It's yeah, Sweden though. Like, come on, bro. You got to give back those Estonian marbles. Moving on. How could architectural works of art be looted, like the St. Mark's Basilica shown in the image? Not all art can be moved. Some art is just straight up a building. St. Mark's Basilica cannot be moved, and we're probably going to be seeing a lot of buildings as pieces of art. I imagine, the Great Tower of Pisa might be a work of art. St. John's Cathedral might be a work of art. The one in Rome, I forget the name of it. The one in the Vatican, Leonardo da Vinci painted the roof. I forget the name of it because I'm blanking. That probably not going to be moved. It looks like a lot of things will not be moved. But here, does looted art count for the cultural tradition as equally as art created in the country? Yes, if its art is in your capital, it is your culture. Behold! English culture! Gotta love that English culture right here. I love it. Gotta, who cares if it was made in Greece? This is English culture as defined by Project Caesar. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot more examples of that. There's not a lot, in fact, there's not a lot of people disagreeing. I guess there's just a lot of people laughing at the kind of absurdity of the statement. But you know what? It is what it is. Those Elgin marbles, it's British culture now, baby. Moving on, though. I'm surprised to see no inventor for the English, calligrapher for Asian and Arab countries, or historians as types of artists. How moddable is the system? And it is very easy to mod in what you want, which is fantastic. Good. I think that is great. Look, the game being moddable as heck is certainly a good thing. There is, I don't think, any intelligent kind of argument against that. I am a big fan of mods. Of course, I play an absolute crap ton of Anbana right now, and allowing them to have works of art that are made of magic. This is the court mage's specific artistness. That kind of thing would be cool. That kind of thing would just be cool. And if it's easy to mod in, fantastic. Good news. Surprised there's no calligraphers for artists, considering how calligraphy was valued in Muslim and Chinese cultural sphere as art. Johan here is saying, I think they're referred to as painters in the game, and obviously getting quite a lot of disagrees. And then it seems that because of the conversation that happened after this, like there's a lot more. It seems that decision was reversed, and Pavia coming in here with the steel chair. In a Friday afternoon project, I've addressed some of the feedback you've given us, and I've just created a new type of artist that has been widely requested. The calligrapher is how it looks script-wise. So if you have the potential for it is if you are Arabic, Chinese, Korean, Japanese, Mongolian, Nepali, Tibetan, and Vietnamese, you will be able to create or find or acquire a calligrapher, which is awesome. I do think others should be added as well. The map maker, I forget the name of what that would be called. Also should be definitely a thing, especially in this period. Have you seen maps coming from 1337? They're fucking terrible. Really, really just so inaccurate. So somebody who can go around and make accurate maps, or just maps, probably gonna be very widely needed. But maybe that could be a different mechanic. Maybe that's not a piece of art. Maybe that is more usable and useful. But yeah. And last thing here for it, calligraphy is also important for Persians, Turks, and Urdu speakers. I think it maybe should be extended to all Muslim cultures. So Pavi did a quick search. They found that the Nastaliq Islamic calligraphy uses the Persian language, so I'm adding it to the list. However, I haven't been able to find if Turkic, Diwani, and Urdu use their own language, or if they're just variants of the Quranic Arabic, and in that case, they would also be covered by Arabic. So any further feedback on this would be appreciated. And if you have further feedback, then literally just go to the forums and give it. They're very receptive. They've proven that plenty of times over. But anyway, let us move away from that and on to Tinto maps. Of course, we're looking at Indonesia. And I don't have too much feedback to share with you. There wasn't a whole lot of really relevant and interesting things other than, somebody coming in with a big wall of text of, I think this, and this. And the dev's response being, oh yeah, we'll look into that. Maybe, sure. But got some bits here for you. So, unexpected Bill Verts. Let's start with that. Yeah, the Majapahit, Mapajahit, Namajapahit. I have never watched the History of the Entire World, I guess, video. I know it's insanely viral to a ridiculous degree, and I probably should have watched it by now. I haven't. Maybe I'll watch it after I finish recording this video. The first time I heard it was when watching Arumba, and that's it. That's where I got it from. Maybe I should have double checked before I made my video, but it was just a throwaway comment in the middle of my video. I now know that it was Bill Verts. There it is. And I guess, yeah, unexpected, if not here, where? Exactly. Moving on, though. Love this edition of Tinto Maps. Two quick things. Is it better to differentiate the spices? This is something that has been going on as a discussion for months. Absolute months and months and months. Because the way the category is now, the Spice Islands won't be so special when it counted for a large portion of the world production of a certain types of spice. Having spices as one or multiple resources is something that is appearing in discussions now and again, consistently, for months. Having them grouped was better for some aspects of the gameplay, but as always, everything is subject to change. I don't know, I still feel like you need to split the spices. I do feel very strongly you need to split the spices, because it's such an important aspect of colonial history, which this game covers. The reason for so much of colonialism in this area was the search for spices and the wealth that could be gotten from spices. And if you can get them in Spain, I don't know, it feels like even if you're not getting as many in Spain, it just feels like you're missing out on what made this area desirable. And yeah, I hope they come back to this decision and rethink it. And there are some hints. There are some hints that they are looking at it. So, for example, we have this comment. No, not this comment. This comment. Let me look for the comment. This comment here. It was a comment that I had, but I didn't have it in order. My apologies. So we're gonna go read through the whole thing through Flower Marlin's comment. Honestly, if you guys do go for the split of spices, you can easily represent them by breaking them into 3 groups. Seed spices, fennel, coriander, cumin, etc. will be more common. Bark spices, cinnamon and cassia, spread them across southern India and Indonesia. And fruit spices, black pepper, long pepper and cardamom, which will be rare and highly sought after. Cloves and saffron can be their own thing with very high base price range similar to cloves in EU4. Will be found in the Far Moluccas and Coromandel coast and drive gameplay for the spice trade routes. Similarly, vanilla, chili peppers and cocoa can be their own thing and drive colonization of the New World. It's a very interesting suggestion. Let's see what we can do about it. This is the closest thing we have had so far to any kind of break in the resistance to changing the spice in EU5. This is the most promising comment we've seen so far, and I am going to keep pulling at this thread. I'm going to keep searching for any more relenting from the devs on this topic, and as soon as I get any word confirming one way or the other, I will share it with you guys as well, because it is important. It is very, very important, because right now cloves, they're inside the spices raw good, and nobody likes this. Nobody likes this. I think it does need to change. It does need to change, and this is the first sign that we're getting. So hey, Flower Marlin, I'm gonna find your comment and I'm gonna love it, because you know what, you did some great stuff. Saffron could be in a few locations in Persia, Kashmir Valley, Andalusia, and so on. Yeah, okay, that is it's a huge comment. It's a huge comment, and I hope that they relent. I really do. But yeah, we have a couple more comments to go over, and then I'm done for today. Is it going to be possible to restore the Srivijaya? I can't pronounce that. What is that? Srivijaya? Whatever. Empire, not currently. Whether these kind of formables are going to be put into the game later, I don't think they're like too big of a deal code-wise to implement. So, you know, give it a map, give it a tag, give it some, the requirements for forming it, and job's a good one, you know? Are there any special mechanics or events that will bring Islam to the region, including inside tags that are not Muslims? Not anything specific yet. Why are there present so many tags that shouldn't really be a thing in 1337, like Brunei, Ternate, and Cebu? It's difficult to ascertain the exact time and appearance for some countries, but in some cases they've opted for making them appear in some predecessor polity that was already forming. Any international organizations or situations in the region that you can name? Not that they can name, which makes me think there is, but we can't talk about them yet, maybe? Is the red tag the Kingdom of Singapore? Yes, it is. And are there any events for the establishment of the Sulu Sultanate? The tag's already there, but they're just not a sultanate yet. And finally, I hope that the area of the Philippines can be named after a pre-colonial name, for example, Luzon. I agree. The Philippines was named after King Philip of Spain. He don't even know those exist. He doesn't exist yet. So definitely, I think calling the Philippines in a game starting in 1337, not great. Very not great. I agree with Carcosa, even if it's not Luzon, because it's, not representative of the entire region, some other name would be nice. Sometimes you have to unfortunately use anachronistic geographical terms due to the lack of better options. But if you have any suggestion for pre-colonial name for the whole Philippines, feel free to make suggestions. Using names that are endonyms, names that the people who live there give themselves, is always preferable. and they should always be used where possible. If there isn't a name, then that's unfortunate. But efforts really need to be made to find something that isn't, named after a king that wasn't born yet on the other side of the world. I think the Philippines is the biggest example of where that is egregious. There's probably other elements. I imagine we're going to see a lot of that in the Americas. And I know a lot of the states in the Americas or in the USA, are named after the tribes who live there, right? So it's not going to be all egregious, but Washington, not named after a Native American group of people, right? Something like Iowa, I believe, is. Washington, not. I can try to say Victoria, but I don't think there is a Victoria. Virginia, named after the British Queen, who was not called Virginia, but she was a virgin, so that's why they called it Virginia. That kind of way. It would be nice if all of the states all of the areas, all of the provinces, whatever, were named after, what the people who lived there at the time called it. Always I'm in favor of that. And that's why I'm so heavily in favor of calling the Roman Empire rather than Byzantium. And yes, I accept that there will now be a comment in my comment section accusing me of crying about the name Byzantium. It happens every time. Don't worry about it. I accept it. Anyway, that's all for today. Hope you enjoyed today's video talking about Indonesia, talking about culture, and talking about the Opera House. I'm sorry that this video came out a little bit late. I had a pretty rancid weekend in regards to sleep and health and stuff. So sorry that it came out late. I'll be back on Wednesday with another Tinto Talks. I hope to see you then. Bye-bye.